Hello, Star Wars fans. Hey, there's just 104 days until Christmas 2022. And we have a new logo you see here behind me. It's North Pole Wireless. This is the group I'm going to be working with this year. We've started a new business venture together, and actually we started it last year, but this is where you can get your virtual online visits with Santa. And I've recorded a video, a story time Santa, that I'll share with everybody if you want a little bit of a preview of what's available through North Pole Wireless. So that's the ad for today. And I've got two of my very best friends with me, Meg and Jason. Hey there.
Hey.
Hello, Santa.
I would say good morning, but it's good afternoon. If I say good afternoon, then it's good morning. It's just a mess, And
Yeah, Meg's doing it. I started doing that during the thing too. I was like, what is that? What is that? A D? Is that a D minor? What do we got?
I think it's a B.
It's a B. Yeah. So, anyways, I was about to be like, I believe in America. I do, and I don't know about this North Pole terrorism. I want it to stop.
America.
America.
That's right. Hey, Jason, you actually.
Sorry, Dana.
No. Oh, I told you guys. I almost forgot to tell everybody else. This will be the only live stream of the week for me. Wednesday, we're going to take the camper up and go back up to Lake Erie area. Spend some time up in Sandusky, just decompressing, recharging the batteries.
Nudist camp.
No. But the good news is, look, my dad's been getting stronger. He's day by day. They've been working on getting him so that he can walk, and he's getting closer to being able to walk on his own. He still needs quite a bit of help, and he can only take a couple of short steps, but he's getting closer. So we're hoping for him to come home by the end of the week, and that's sort of the plan they're putting in place, and they're working really hard to get him there. And look, I appreciate all the support everybody's given. My goodness, it's been overwhelming, and look, the amount of work that we've had to do while Dad's been in the hospital has been what has just, I've reached my breaking point where I need some time off. I just need to take some time away from the farm, away from all the work, and get some time away. So I spent 2 days on the tractor with a bush hog this last week. If you don't know what a bush hog is, some people call it a brush hog, but it's a very large mower that goes with a very large tractor, and
Okay.
you can
Nice
chop down.
I was going to say, here in the UK, it means something very different. It's like, you're a bush hog.
I take it. I take that.
I'm going to leave it there. But you could chop down very large growth in a field with that. So because Dad hasn't been able to cut hay and bale hay, I had to get the bush hog out and chop all that down. So Meg.
We're like Beavis and Bud on this one. I don't think we're gonna be able to get past it.
Okay. But I won't mention a bush hog anymore.
No, please keep mentioning it.
Bush hog life.
Jedi Mike, that's hilarious. Oh my goodness. Hey, so Jason, you are actually able to attend part of D23 over the weekend.
The only part that mattered.
What was that like?
It was cool. It was. I went into it with realistic expectations. I've been before, and I kind of knew what the parameters of it would be, so to speak, like about how hard they always go. For some reason, it kind of got a little crazy this year about how far it would, what they were going to do. And I had hopes. Like I had hoped, like, oh, maybe they'll announce a movie we know nothing about. Maybe they just signed somebody. But so it was pretty much Star Wars Celebration for the Disney people, which is what you should almost always expect.
Excellent.
Realistic.
Well, I saw, look, there's a video out there of the D23 coverage. Somebody with their phone, recording it. So I was able to watch that, and it looked like a fun time.
It was. It's totally worth. If you only like Star Wars, though, don't go. Don't pay to go. Don't. If you like the Marvel stuff and stuff on general Disney stuff, it's worth it. But it is a Disney convention. You can't escape that. You can't turn a Disney convention into a Star Wars thing. Like, there was people that I ran into there who were there for Star Wars and were like, I don't like this. Like, this is kind of dumb. It's like, yeah, this is the Disney convention.
Right. And I saw a lot of trailers come out of there, like for the Enchanted or Disenchanted and National Treasure series and what is that? Hocus Pocus 2. Like, there's tons of Disney content.
Disney Plus's Bush Hogs.
Oh my goodness!
It was.
I shouldn't have. I almost said something else, but Meg would take it the wrong way, so I'm just going to leave it.
It wouldn't be the first time.
That's true. That's very, very true. No, I was going to say, it's the farming life. It's what we do out here on the farm. We have to use a bush hog.
Sometimes you just got to get out the bush hog.
Yeah, you got to trim the weeds. Just saying. I might as well just go with it.
But the Indiana Jones trailer that they didn't release was pretty rad. I mean, it looked really on. It looked like it's Indiana Jones, like, through and through. Like, I'm happiest about that. You know what I mean? More, I can't even, like, I was really afraid that it was going to look like National Treasure. Sorry, I know people like it. I'm not knocking it, but National Treasure and Indiana Jones, not the same thing. The Mummy, not the same thing. It's like comparing, I don't know, like the Rolling Stones and the Beatles to like freaking like Everclear, so some 90s schlock band. It's not the same thing. It's a completely different league. And so I was afraid that they were going to deliver that, knowing that the general audience would just be like, it's all the same stuff to me. But it looked like the way it was shot, every single shot in that thing looked like it was just 100% on. Like, I'm glad it's not Spielberg. I hate to say that. It's a weird thing to say, but it looked like it was somebody who was down to really make an Indiana Jones movie. But the only thing that I could be critical of that is that they didn't put a premise, they didn't put a title. So I felt like I saw the world's best trailer almost. It was like, wow, and then it's like something feels just dead inside about it, and it was that though. It was that. I think that they're going to release that trailer with premise inserted, and that will be the real trailer when it comes out. I think that's what it was. Yeah, I've seen that before from them.
The chat's cracking me up. You guys are hilarious. I did see Spielberg release something like his swan song hasn't been filmed yet. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of rumor that Spielberg was going to be done, but he said, no, slow your roll. There's something else still in the tank. So there's something else he wants to do for whatever that's worth. And again, still off topic, but the bit on the National Treasure, my youngest daughter was a huge fan of the National Treasure movies. Yeah. And there's been several kind of knockoff series lately on different services. And we've been watching one of them. And it just seems like a knockoff. And my concern on the National Treasure series is it's going to seem like a knockoff, not like the actual National Treasure movie, the franchise, but a knockoff of the National Treasure franchise.
Like a half-hearted attempt that's what that thing was, and we're just going to kind of do that on TV.
Yeah, it seems weird. It just seems weird to me. I know Meg has football practice coming up, and I wanted to talk about, Meg, your video today. I thought was thought provoking, to say the least. I loved it, and
Thank you, Santa.
The short of it is that in a synopsis for Ahsoka, right, that they talk about the what's the term they use?
The unknown threats.
Yeah, unknown threats, or it's a vulnerable
Wild bush
galaxy, right? It's a it's a vulnerable galaxy, and unknown threats. And then you made a connection back to Mandalorian season 3 that I thought was brilliant, and definitely worth discussing. Not to take anything from you, give us the short of that again. Go watch Meg's video first of all if you want the full details. She does a great job of documenting all of it. But give us your theory there. I think it's a good one.
It basically says that I think all of the upcoming Mandalorian-related shows, like Season 3, Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew, they all seem to be exploring the unknown regions in one way or another. That's confirmed for Ahsoka and Skeleton Crew and just, like, theorized for The Mandalorian. But, some of those leaks we had on Reddit about those mysterious Grogu species and that mysterious man he meets that chases him away, I kind of feel like Mando's part of the story is going to accidentally come across something going on in the unknown regions, whether that's the Grisk or whether it's literally running into Ezra himself before Ahsoka's even set off on that journey. I just kind of feel like that's the route they're taking, and it's all going to come together eventually. I guess, after the Ahsoka show and Skeleton Crew, we'll have a better idea of like what happened after Return of the Jedi and how that leads to the creation of the First Order. Because it kind of is implied in the Last Jedi visual guides that it was the First Order who basically dealt with the Grisk threat. And it was like I'm kind of thinking that Gideon is going to lose eventually, because Giancarlo Esposito teases these other Imperial guards across the galaxy who aren't necessarily stronger than him, but have different goals. And there are legitimate remnants who don't want to bring Palpatine back. So they might be much more aware of what's going on beyond the scope of, Navarro's cloning facility and all of that.
While you're saying that, you got me thinking, the last we saw, again, in the celebration, Giancarlo, I thought, did a masterful job of kind of stirring up the audience, right? He gave a very energetic kind of speech.
Was that out? Have people seen it or heard it?
I've seen it because it's on a cell phone video.
Okay.
Let me just I'll share what it looks like. I'm afraid to play it because I know they've been sniping people really aggressively over the last few days. I saw Josh Lucas talking about it a little bit this morning as well. But
well, here we go with the race war at D23. Everybody, get your shovels and your pickaxes. Let's do it.
So I saw this, right? And
they can't go after you for showing somebody talking in a room like that. If they do, that's messed up. If you show footage,
I'm scared.
Yeah, but that's like.
But Giancarlo gave a great rousing kind of speech in there. I thought it was great. It was a lot of fun to watch, and in fact, the entire Mandalorian panel was a lot of fun to watch. But Giancarlo knows how to play a crowd. Right? He knows how to get everybody enthusiastic, and he did a great job of that. And the one thing that he mentioned in there, let me see if I can. There's a okay. So here he is giving his little bit, and at the end of it, he puts his hands together like in shackles. Yeah, here he is, in like in shackles, and he's mentioning that's where we last left him, right? He's been captured, and as Meg was talking, I had to think, there's got to be something that takes him from being in shackles to not being in shackles, right? So that he's again part of the story. And I wonder, Meg, if you're onto something here, if Moff Gideon has dealt with the Grisk, let's say, right? He's had encounters with them, and the Grisk show up, and you need somebody who has military experience fighting the Grisk somebody who can give you maybe a tactical advantage fighting the Grisk. They may go back to Giancarlo to say, hey, I want to make a deal. Would you like out on prison release and help us here?
It's interesting. I will say with Gideon, I think he's a distraction. I don't see him as like the long-term villain of this show. And I think there's a big surprise moment coming up. And I want to go on the record for saying it just because I'm very confident it's going to happen. I think Moff Gideon was a Mandalorian.
Well, I've already put out the scoop on that one, that he has the Mandalorian helmet. He's going to have a black Mandalorian helmet, and he's going to.
But is that because he's a wannabe, or because he's
Right.
a legit Mandalorian? Because I think he was once a Mandalorian, which would explain why he knows Din Djarin's name in season 1.
I think so too. I think it's going to be. I think that what it's going to do is it's going to call legitimacy to his claims, sort of in that culture and in that realm, and complicate it. That's what I think is going to happen as well. I'm on the same page as you, but that helmet I think is the big clue.
That's
Right.
really interesting.
That's
Do you think
excellent.
he would have been like part of Gar Saxon's Imperial Mandos? That would make more sense.
Well, because if you end up having Mandalore fall in line with the Empire, eventually they're going to put in like an Olmec type, right? But why put in an Olmec puppet, so to speak, if you could actually have like a Moff who's actually going to control it and keep it in line, and then be able to wield it like, a weapon if they wanted to. I could see Filoni and Favreau doing that kind of concept. It makes
I
sense.
agree
to
with
me.
that.
So
So they finally released the Mandalorian season 3 trailer. Now it's on Disney Plus, so it's behind a paywall to some degree, right?
Oh, is it?
You can find it plenty of places, but the actual trailer itself is on Disney Plus, and you kind of got to go into the extras to find it. It's not like
I think
featured.
Star Wars posted it, Santa, on YouTube publicly.
I went and looked for it. I found Tales of the Jedi on Star Wars' YouTube site, but I didn't find this. Maybe I didn't look hard enough. But I did. Matt
found
says
it.
it is on.
Yeah.
Okay, it says it is on there. So
It's still on trending, by the way.
it's great. But there's a line in here that I wanted to discuss a little bit. And Meg, let me know when you got to go. Right, let me know. But it's here with Bo-Katan. A couple of notes. We speculated before that this might be the throne room from the Clone Wars animated series, where we see Satine killed by Maul. But there's been some debate because the throne looks different. The throne in the Clone Wars and the throne we see here are entirely different. But maybe it's been remodeled. Who knows?
That's what I'm going to go with, probably. That it I mean, obviously there's just going to be differences because of the change, but that would be if they ever had to answer it. Oh yeah, it gets those windows get rocks thrown through it during when this happened or something, and then.
Well, it's like when we get another president elected, they come in and they replaced the desk with, the Eisenhower desk or the whatever desk, right? They replace the desk. they update the drapes and the carpeting and stuff like that. And now's the time to insert the bush hog joke. But anyway,
at the same time, it is crazy though that it those windows survived the blast though. So I guess. Maybe nobody did throw a rock through it.
So here you do see. Here's the quote. Bo says,
I read that subtitle very, very wrong. I read that as you C word.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that's where you went with that. And she says, "Your cult," and it's a little dramatic, whatever, fractured our people. Your cult fractured our people. She's talking to Din, presumably, right? And you were mentioning Moff Gideon perhaps being an actual Mandalorian, part of the fractured cults or the fractured groups of Mandalorians, which is an interesting juxtaposition based on what the armorer is accusing Bo-Katan of. Right? Rightfully wielding the dark saber brought devastation upon Mandalore. Right?
Dude,
I
it was
think
sort of
if
good.
it wasn't for Jason's leaks, I would be so confused about season 3's structure. Because everything Jason said seems to be exactly where it's headed, but without that like structure in mind of knowing where it's going with the armor and Bo-Katan and things, it's very confusing. I can imagine like people who've not been in sort of the Star Wars news and leak side of things being very confused going into the 3rd season after Book of Boba.
Yeah, I'd be lost.
And what I see, it's not only this statement, but with Jason's leaks, as you mentioned, Meg, is we do have fractured clans within Mandalore, right? And it seems that Bo is wanting to bring them back together. And I say that because of what I understand from Jason's leaks. Without those, I'd be clueless. I'd be clueless. What's going on? We've got fractured clans. Mando's no longer a Mandalorian. They're fighting. Bo-Katan hates Mando. Mando, what's going on? Right? I would have no clue. But to me, it seems like it's an acknowledgement that Mandalore, not only as a planet, which this is worth showing as well. It comes up here in another frame or two, right there.
Wow.
Right, that's an impressive scene.
And that's the volume.
You can see it's completely destroyed. Yeah, it's gorgeous, and the devastation of Mandalore is evident. Bo's wanting to rebuild Mandalore. Ultimately, perhaps. Again,
am I right
spoilers.
in saying that Bo-Katan's going to be a good guy
I
at
think
some
so.
stage in the season? Because I think Dave Filoni likes her too much to, go down the route of let's kill her off kind of thing.
I agree.
I think she's going to be sort of an antagonist at first, and then once certain political pieces start to align, I think then we kind of bring it together, because like her and the armor are at odds, but then we know that yet they eventually aren't. And so I think that's going to be like the big sort of like character development pieces of the season, is how we go from A to Z with that stuff, with all of those like different relationships. Yeah. But at D23 during the Star Wars panel, the armorer, the actor, did not really realize what it was, and thought she was at like a Star Wars celebration thing, and started talking about like her life story and like with her father and stuff. And they didn't know how to end it. It was the most awkward thing I saw the whole time. And at the end, Kathleen Kennedy even makes jokes about it. She's like, "Well,
I thought it was great.
You go on, but don't do that." Basically, to the next person. I was like,
but I got where she was going with it, right? She's saying she drew her inspiration from this, like the silent stoicness of her father.
Yeah,
taught her a lesson, and that less said is more, and that's how she plays the armor.
It was an insight. It was good, but I was just like, "Oh, she doesn't know what this is."
Are we talking about Emily Swallow's father or the armorer's father?
Emily Swallows.
Oh, I see. Yeah, which is quite funny because at Celebration you couldn't get much word out of her.
Oh, she was very chatty. It was great. I enjoyed it a lot. Yeah, she started saying, "Yeah, when I was a kid, let me tell you." It's just like her life story. It was great. But
I like her. Don't get me wrong. She's fantastic. But it was
Yeah, it was a little weird. Like, where are you going with this? But then I could see what she was bringing up, and it was absolutely pertinent, and it answered the question about how do you get this imposing kind of figure into a character who says so little and wears a helmet, right? How do you convey her power, her strength?
You
Where do
make
get
her
that?
talk like a weirdo. What is this, heathen? You know, that kind of stuff.
Her voice works so well for the trailers, though.
Yeah.
Like she's
It
got the
does.
perfect trailer voice for like a mysterious armorer. But having said that, I think Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, all of the creatives who've worked on the show, they do a great job with bringing out emotions for like a helmeted, emotionless, visually character. And it was in the Book of Boba Fett, that scene with Ahsoka where he's right there, I can see him, and he wants to give Grogu this gift. That was so emotional, and yet you can't even see Din Djarin's face.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you're
will-
It's
exactly
good
right.
writing. It's good writing.
It is. It is good acting. I think the directors are doing a really good job of bringing out performances. We kind of talked about how well some of the directors have done lately, and I think they did a good job. And it's why I think so many Star Wars fans are enamored with The Mandalorian, right?
Santa, unfortunately, I've got to run. But
Okay.
thank you so much for having me. Jason, great
wanted-
speaking to you.
Bye,
I
Meg.
did want to lead with your story, Meg. Thank you so much for stopping in today.
Get out of here, you
And,
bush hog. Get out of here.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye, Meg. So that I've been seeing Matt Risman in the chat. I was watching X-Wing and Matt Risman's show from last night. It was I know X-Wing's on his honeymoon, and so they were heading out and they were going to go do that. So he's not in the chat today. But I would love to have been able to tell him that it was great to see Matt Risman expose X-Wing for the shield that he is. That X-Wing has now joined the Shield Brigade. It was absolutely wonderful to finally see X-Wing's true colors, and I hope that somebody clips this and sends it to him. It was.
And all of the other ship talk today. Do that too.
Yeah, when Matt Risman first time said, that called him out for being a shill, X-Wing's face was priceless. It was it was really good. It was really good. So thank you for that, Matt. That was a gift to all of us. We appreciate it. And X-Wing's not here to defend himself, so you guys be sure to let X-Wing know that we're thrilled for his wedding and his
Enjoy the halcyon
honeymoon.
your honeymoon.
His honeymoon, and that he's finally able to reveal himself for the true shield that he is. That's
Yeah, I heard he was staying in the Obi-Wan Kenobi suite on the halcyon.
I'm quite sure. It was great. So if you didn't see that video, you should go watch the video from last night. X-Wing and Matt Risman.
Nice.
I do love getting revenge, Nikki. It's fun because he's not here to defend himself. That's the best part.
We like punch and run. We punch and run.
Yeah,
Punch and run.
Exactly. You're not here to defend yourself. Oh, okay. So there was a ton of other news as well that came out of D23, and we were just talking about the Mandalorian. We know that Mandalorian is 2023. We were assuming like January timeframe. But that appears not to be the case.
We were saying February on all the social media accounts, is I believe what it originally was saying, February of 2023. And then they removed that. They took it away.
They did.
What do you think, though? Is that significant, or is that just they didn't do the release date at D23? They just removed it because they got their update, time to update everything. And no, we're not releasing that right now, and they just removed it because it could be nothing.
Something has kind of occurred to me through all of this.
Okay,
is that as Star Wars fans, we're getting hyped up over things, and we start speculating over things, and we start setting our own expectations. I think Meg's talked about this before. Sometimes we should just take Lucasfilm word for it, or maybe you've said it right. Like we should just take their word for it, right? If they haven't said anything, then don't read into it.
But But you know what? What makes me mad about that is you're right. That's right. That's the way you should do it. That's the way it should be. But their thing is just don't give anything. Just don't be like, you know what? We intend to tell you at D23. We'll see. Stay tuned. Instead of just silence and then nothing. And then they create the very environment that they turn their nose up to.
Yeah, you're right.
And that's superior too. It's like that one dude from Marvel. He's like, oh, we think we're gonna tell you, but we just can't. We don't know yet. And he just like is like up front, and it's just like it's so easy. Just do what Kevin Feige does. It's easy. That part is easy.
So I think everybody remembers the great big celebration or D23 event where Kathleen Kennedy stood on stage in that big wall behind her, like 11 different projects that were coming down the pipe, right?
Yeah.
And like half of those are still in limbo or dead, right? Like, and so it seems to me that they got their hand burned on the stove, and now they're afraid to touch the stove, right? Like, and their response has been silence. Instead of telling folks, like Skeleton Crew is the one that kind of nailed me on this because we've had some news of Skeleton Crew, but we didn't really get anything concrete on it until they're already several weeks into filming. It's like, oh, now we can tell you Skeleton Crew's coming. Like, well, okay, so you're just not going to...
One thing to add to that really quickly is they are still filming that. They're filming that for a few more months. I saw all the stuff saying it wrapped. I'm like, I don't know where that came from. I was like, I called the friend. I'm like, hey, are you done? Are you seriously done? They're like, no. Unless I got fired, no. I'm going to get fired talking to you. I was like, okay, bye. But yeah.
Right. I saw, that's the first thing I saw come out that says, hey, Skeleton Crew is wrapped. I'm like, what? Oh. They already filmed the whole thing? That seems crazy. But when you watch this thing from Celebration, like this was another awkward announcement. It's like, Skeleton Crew, come on out. And they're like, yes, we're doing Skeleton Crew. And now we got to go back to work. See ya, bye. It's like, what? Oh, here's a picture. There's a picture. We got to go. See ya. And it's like, oh. Yeah. It was weird.
And they don't film on Saturday on the weekends on those Star Wars shows. They get the weekends off. So I'm like, stop doing that whole thing if you're going back to work. We're going. I mean, you deserve your weekend. I'm not saying that. But.
We literally have the crew standing there waiting for us to come back. So we got to go. That's sort of what they.
Yeah.
Like, no, come on now. But it was a weird kind of unscripted moment where they're like, okay, running into each other. I don't know where to go. Oh, do we turn right here? What do we do? It was weird. Yeah. It was really, really weird. But the picture they showed, I think everybody's seen this. Let me see if I can bring this up. Here we go. So we've seen this picture, right? Jude Law and the droids there looking out. It's a strange. I don't know why there's so many, but you can see the kids in the background. Right, the 4 kids and Jude Law, and then I saw this Variety article that I thought was really good. And what's the date on this? The 9th. So this came out right before Celebration. But there's some insight in this article that I think is pretty interesting. So It says next year Jude Law is set to lead a cast in the Skeleton Crew about a group of children finding their way home after being lost in space. And I've been talking about this, and there's been a lot of speculation. What is the Skeleton Crew about? Are we going to see this cameo or that cameo? What's going to be happening? Is so-and-so in it or this other person in it? And to me, it seems like, of course, you can pick up on the Lost in Space phrase in there, but it seems a lot like Star Trek Voyager. And again, I know not everybody's necessarily a Star Trek fan, but Voyager, the premise is that they got jettisoned out into space, into a new part of space they'd never been in before, and they start working their way back home. On the way back home, they run into different kind of encounters, and it's going to take them some ridiculous number of years at maximum warp speed to make it back, right? To me, it seems more consistent with that premise that they've been lost in space. Something happened to their hyperdrive. They got jettisoned out and spun off into space, some weird place, and they don't know where they are. Or they do know, but they're way off course and they've got to make their way back.
Yeah.
And on the way back, they're going to run into different adventures, different things.
That was sort of one of the models of like the assumption that I made like early on, and I think that that's the one that they're going with is some kids, something happens, they got to like light speed out to something, they crash, they're stuck on this place, they find this weird captain, unlikely kind of thing, and skeleton crew means the most minimal to do to sell a ship, to film a show. With the minimal amount to get by, and then so I think that's exactly what we have there is that they're going to be with this shystery kind of dude, and then they have to try to get home, and then by doing it in that way they're able to do those kinds of stories where like, oh no, so and so doesn't have confidence, he's going to have to learn confidence in this episode or we're never going to get off this rock. It's going to be stuff like that constantly, but hopefully, but with the talent involved, it won't be as grating. It'll probably be like that format, masterfully done. It's lost in space. It's like literally the inspiration is literally in the description, lost in space.
That's what I said. It's easy to pick that phrase out.
Yeah.
And Jedi Mike, I do want to bring out, you mentioned the Nerd Theory Hangout with Quentin Time podcast this evening. So the pre-show before Nerd Theory is Quentin Time podcast with friends, and they do talk about different franchises. And I don't want to embarrass Quentin or anything, but he reached out to me last week concerned about, hey, how you doing and all that. And I shared with him that I've kind of reached my physical, mental, and emotional limit on this whole episode with my dad. And he sent me the kindest gift, most wonderful care package in the mail. And is a just tremendous, tremendous person. And
Ganja?
I am blown away by the kindness and just the awesomeness of so many folks here. It was really good.
Quinn's a great dude. He really is.
He really is.
Yeah.
He's an amazing guy.
I'm
guy.
happy to have met him. I can't lie. Most of you guys, not really that happy to have met you. Most of you, whatever. But Quentin's great. I love Quentin.
He is. He's a special person, and appreciate it. So there are many other folks too. I just calling him out for
yeah, I'm kidding. Everybody's good, especially Chillmonger.
Hey, I like Chillmonger a lot.
Me too.
He's got some great insight and perspective on things as well. And when I'm kind of lost on Marvel stuff, I'm like, I don't get it. I catch Chillmonger stuff. It helps me.
I could have used Chillmonger at D23 because like everyone's like, oh my god, and I'm like, what? It's a freaking bald guy. What you want? You want to say? Oh my god, look at this. They're like, that's Kingpin. I'm like, oh, okay, cool.
Exactly. Anthony, what happened to Star Wars D23 fans let speculation become expectation. That's sort of my point, Anthony, is that I think as Star Wars fans, we have let that happen far too much. I'm as guilty as anybody else of letting my speculation become my expectation. And when you go back and you really look at it, and I was trolling Josh on Den of Nerds last week pretty hard because he was complaining about the lack of Star Wars movie news and how it's terrible. Why can't they make a movie? I was like, well, try living through the 90s. Why couldn't you make a Star Wars movie, George? What's wrong with you? And if you wanted to use today's reasoning off of it, you're coming off of Return of the Jedi, one of the largest movies of all time. You're a box office hit, and now you don't make a Star Wars movie. What's wrong with you, man? Like, can't you read the room? We want more Star Wars content. Come on, give us more Star Wars. That's what people will be saying today, right? Like, what's wrong with George Lucas? Why can't he give fans what they want? And there would be video after video about how he's disconnected with Star Wars.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is when a movie comes out and then they don't like it, then they shouldn't have made it. Why did you rush it? Why did you even do it? When they don't do it, it's because everybody needs to make daily content. And you can't make daily content without them making content for us to vampirically suck the blood out of to make our content. So then, so it's this like vicious cycle of stupid. But I do agree. I mean, I am like pretty frustrated with them. It's like, your thing is to make Star Wars movies, make some Star Wars movies. I don't know what you have to do to make it happen and make it good, but you got to do that. So it's like right now, we're either going to look back on this as what were they thinking, or we're going to be like, okay, they were actually like planning stuff out and not moving too fast and letting like a real true plan come together. But that's the whole thing. Is there a plan coming together behind the scenes? And this is just like boring for us right now, but it's ultimately worth it? Or are they just treading water because their methodology is broken? Sometimes I do think the methodology is broken. Like at Marvel, they decide we're going to do Stranger Things in space. And then they go and then they get people to do it. And if it doesn't work out, they just get somebody else to come and do it. Lucasfilm has like the guys from Spider-Man come and say, we want to do Stranger Things in space. And then they do it. But if those guys don't get along with them and walk, then they're just screwed and they don't know what to do. And then it's like really difficult. And it's like coming out of this, like they got that 1 foot, like an auteur theory kind of space. And it's like some things need to be that way. But I think that they should be designing, like, we're going to do Rogue Squadron. And if Wonder Woman lady wants to do it, she's on. But you know what? If she's doing Cleopatra, that's fine, because we'll just hire Steve from accounting. He'll direct it. You know what I mean? Like that kind of, like, that's how it needs to be. That way things happen. That way things like come together. Otherwise, we just end up with like, let the Game of Thrones guys figure it out. And it's like, that was a great idea. I was totally on board with that. But once they bounced, then we just ended up, well, now we got nothing again. And then now we got nothing. And it keeps going that way.
I go back to that celebration panel D23 panel that I just watched. John said something really important in that, where he said, all the people making Star Wars right now are Star Wars fans. They're obsessed. They are the living Star Wars, living, breathing, eating, sleeping, dreaming Star Wars.
Yeah.
And they're super excited to be working on Star Wars. Everybody, like top to bottom. Right? And these are a bunch of Star Wars fans making Star Wars content. I thought that was really insightful, because if you listen to some of these channels, you might believe differently. And like, or
most of these
dislike,
channels don't know their ass from their elbow. That's just just the truth. They either don't care to, because they could just say whatever and then make that, play the if you've ever watched wrestling, most channels play the audience like they're watching wrestling. It has nothing to do with like reality whatsoever.
Yeah. When I look at things, in just like step back, right? Step back from the making Star Wars content, which I've had to do lately. I just can't, right?
Because what's going on? What you're saying?
No, it's because of my
channel,
my dad, and trying to take care of his farm, my farm, everything. but it's so much work, right?
Yeah.
And just not being able to, what am I going to talk about today about Star Wars or tomorrow? And just kind of step back from it and think on what we are actually getting as Star Wars fans. Just in general, right? Stay away from the Reddit, stay away from the YouTube, stay away from the social networks, and just look at the Star Wars content we've gotten over the last 10 years. Mm-hmm. And it's an incredible amount. And some of it is absolutely fantastic. Some of it is for some people and not for others, and vice versa, right? So we have a wide array of Star Wars content, some of it amazing, some of the best Star Wars of all time. and it's not something that I think sometimes we realize the blessings we have that are coming from Lucasfilm. We want to complain about what we don't have,
Right.
and those speculations that have become expectations. And this is funny. Chillmonger mentions in 91 and 99, right? Then you got your Star Wars in 99 and pouted. You would be making those videos. Actually, yes, I would have, Chillmonger. I would have said, why is he giving this stupid prequel stuff? Nobody wants this. What we want is Luke Skywalker, freaking Skywalker, Jedi Master, going out and kicking butt and ruling the universe. What's wrong with you making these prequels?
And I would have been like,
nobody wants
his
it.
Mom is hot. His mom is hot. Just shut up. It's got a hot. Luke Skywalker's got a hot mom, and I'm all about it. No, I'm kidding.
like George Lucas. Nobody wants this nonsense. Give us Luke Skywalker going out through the galaxy, finding other. Right. That's what I would have been saying. What's wrong with you? Look, Kiri and Mark aren't getting any younger. Give us that. Don't give us this nonsense. That would have been me. So anyway, Chillmonger, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I would have been making those videos. That would have been me. Maybe I would have had Rob on my show.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He'd been John. Right? He'd been like, yeah, that stuff sucks. Right. He would have been right with me there. So I would go back to this article a little bit more with Jude Law. It says he joined the series creator John Watts on stage to debut the first look, which shows him dressed in a black jacket, snazzy green scarf. That's this thing, right? That's that thing. And they confirmed that series taking place during the New Republic era, and they've been shooting for weeks. And they're as you mentioned just a moment ago, and I thought was an important point for people to listen. They're not done. It's by no means is it wrapped. It's got weeks, if not months, of shooting still left, and then plenty of work to do. I think we heard it was filming like a little past October. I'm probably wrong about that, but that's what I feel like was supposed to go until like past October, like a little past, like into like maybe
into November a little bit.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be done before this year. But yeah.
So I like that it's set during this New Republic era. I think that's an interesting term to use. We've been thinking about what is this, the Mandoverse? It's the New Republic era, right? That's
it takes place in the Mando. That's been confirmed for a bit that it takes place at the same time as Ahsoka and Mando, like in that same era or whatever.
Yeah, it's not the sequel era necessarily, because if you think about it, The Force Awakens, the New Republic's destroyed. So it's before that. The New Republic era is a nice term to kind of encapsulate between just after Return of the Jedi to the Force Awakens. That era is the New Republic era.
Yeah, I mean, it's destroyed on the first day of the Force Awakens. So yeah, that is a good way to start it.
I like that. I've been trying to think of what is the umbrella to call this era. We've been called the Mandoverse for the longest time, but lack of a better term. I think the better term is the New Republic era. And it encapsulates that entire
Mandoverse thing is that's like stupid because it's like one character, you know what I mean? And that whole thing. I mean, I get it though. I mean, it for what it does though, but like the New Republic thing still doesn't necessarily work because it's 30 years. So like when you look at it, these kids in this show are 10 years old, right? By the time we get to the end of it, they're 40.
Right.
That's a lot of that's more Star Wars storytelling than we've had for most of the Star Wars characters, like Luke Skywalker. I mean, we pretty much have like around like that same amount of time for him. So that's a lot of time. That's what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And Nikki says she hopes it's a bit spooky. I agree. I think like Voyager, I wouldn't think Star Trek Voyager is spooky in any way.
Like Baywatch Nights.
It's Star Trek. And you know, it's exploring new worlds, making friends, moving on, right? This skeleton crew has the potential to be a little grittier and a little darker than Star Trek. I would expect it to be.
Yeah.
And when you talk about the other term used there was Lost in Space. Lost in Space is actually a little dark. If you watch the newer version of it on Netflix, yeah, I mean they're running for their lives, right? It's not the campy danger.
No, it's like space survival, like that show. If I remember right, they're like get trapped in like ice caverns and stuff, and it's like whatever you know. But it's like like the story could be like in the Himalayas or something, or you know what I mean, like as far as like the environments go. Yeah. But this one, the big key takeaway that I think we need to keep in context on this though is Amblin. That it's riffing on the Amblin vibe, which means Goonies. It means E.T. It means like it's that early Steven Spielberg when you had a kid that was self-sufficient, the hero, but there's like weird lights coming from behind the door, poltergeist, stuff like that, and you're like, what is that? You know what I mean? And so it's gonna be like it's gonna be spooky in the sense that if the kids are in a unfamiliar place where they don't know what's gonna get them, like around the corner, but they all have personality and they stick together and that kind of thing. So the kids shouldn't be like, you know, in Clone Wars, and they're like, I'm just a kid. Oh, I got a Tanuki doll and now I'm okay. That's not the Amblin vibe. The Amblin vibe is like Mouth, Data, Chunk. Like they got little bits of big personalities and little bodies. And like, so I'm hoping that they capture that right. And considering the talent involved, I believe they will, you know.
I absolutely love that kind of comparison, the Amblin bit, because the term that we've been getting lately is Stranger Things. Yeah, like, Stranger Things is kind of spooky.
No, but Stranger Things is I'm going to say, I mean this respectfully, but it's a half-hearted attempt at Amblin. It's like, remember VHS and 80s movies? All of that was because of what Amblin was doing. So they're kind of like going right to the source, but here's the cool part. Kathleen Kennedy was at Amblin that whole time. So when they go to do this, she's going to know as a producer if you're making the wrong call. Like she's not really a storyteller necessarily, but she's sort of like it advises them as the producer and sort of like is the caretaker, keeps them on track and that kind of jazz. When the story's going off the rails, she knows. So that's going to be like, what would Spielberg do? Well, the lady who was on set with Spielberg and was on the phone calls for every call Spielberg made, every movie he proxy directed during the Amblin era, she's there. So I think it could be rad. I mean, this could be way better than we're thinking right now. It really could.
Yeah. So, you know, we were really hyped over 2022 being like a super amazing year for Star Wars content, when we were lining everything up and think it was all going to be released this year. Of course, now the Bad Batch has been pushed back to January. That's confirmed. But so the first time that we saw that, you saw it last, a lot of people saw it last week when that bot picked up on the metadata and picked out the January 4th date.
Good work, bot.
He did a good job. Right. It picked that up off of the metadata. Yeah.
Sorry, I liked that when you said that. Yeah.
During D23, they did pick up, said it's coming January 4th, right? So now it's like, okay, we know Bad Batch is coming January 4th, which is now leading a lot of folks to say, just out of necessity, if they're not going to double up too much, they're going to have to push back Mando Season 3, Ahsoka, and Skeleton Crew, right? Skeleton Crew 2023?
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, for sure, I think.
Yeah. So that's if you start looking at
Ahsoka, Mando, Skeleton Crew, and Andor 2 would probably be coming.
Well, so that's my question.
Andor 2 will probably be 2024 most likely though.
Yeah. Bad Batch kicks it off.
But they have it in their mind, their mindset is animation and live action shows. It's two different like project layouts. They just aren't the same kind of thing. Just for what it's worth.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, I'm working it out. We had all this lined up for 2022, and it didn't pan out. Right now for 2023, we are lining up, not necessarily Lucasfilm or Disney Plus is lining up. Bad Batch Season 2, Mando 3, Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew, Visions 2, Acolyte. When's Acolyte coming?
Acolyte. I don't think Acolyte will be. I would doubt Acolyte comes in 2023. Because Acolyte will start filming next year, and then it needs to actually film the visual. It's going to use some volume. It's going to use some some actual like set stuff, and so I doubt it. If it is, it'd be like late 2023.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you. The Acolyte will be 2024, and the other one that you mentioned is the Andor Season 2. I think Andor Season 2 is 2024. I don't think it's 2023. Just because I start to look at everything else and think, wow, where are they going to throw it in? All right, how are they going to? And again, let past performance inform future. Right. So, do I expect all this to be in 2023? No, not so much. I think we know that we're closing out 2022 with Andor, and we're going to get the entire Tales of the Jedi dropped on October 24th.
That's a little bit of stuff. That's just a little.
Yeah, 6 shorts, less than 15 minutes an episode, and really 2 stories. Right?
That's like one pack of Hanes, pretty much. 2 packs.
You get the Ahsoka story, and you get the Dooku story.
Yeah.
Right? That's it. That's Tales of the Jedi Season 1. I would presume that we will get, much like we're getting Visions Season 2, we will get a Tales of the Jedi Season 2, 3, 4, 5, like down the road, and just continue to explore some of these characters. And by the way, I could go ahead and put this on screen while we talk about Tales of the Jedi. There's some good stuff in here.
Oh yeah.
This is interesting that this
double
first part is
sub.
Ahsoka, and again, I saw Matt Risman and X-Wing talk about this last night as well. You get Padme's burial, right? Her funeral procession here.
She's stuffed with the box of rocks in her tummy right there. Isn't that weird?
If I remember from the movie, the procession is moving left to right. Here it's moving right to left, so it's like paying the opposite.
Yeah, they probably like drug her corpse through the streets all over so everybody could see. That's what I think. You know, the queen is dead. Bye.
Yeah. Why are they dropping Tales all at once, with a lot of dead air between?
Because it's not significant enough to be a week by week show. Like it would be super unsatisfying, and then like now here's the next like they're like little vignettes, and so like it's just not. I just don't think it has enough breadth to it to keep you like going, what's next, and then tuning in and being satisfied. You'd be like, that's it? I waited a week for that? Okay, cool. So I think that's why they're doing it. That's my guess.
I could see an argument for putting it after the season finale of Andor the following week, because there's still some time between mid-November and January when Bad Batch Season 2.
But remember, they don't anticipate Andor is going to satisfy my 8-year-old. That's what they keep saying. It's not Star Wars for 8-year-olds.
And you already said
Star Wars for 8-year-olds.
Right. Animated projects and live action, they see as 2 different entire projects, right? Like they're not tying them together, even though they're all Disney Plus content.
But like Lucasfilm Animation's its own like sub department that has its own targets. You know what I mean? For what it needs to like do, it's supposed to do per year and budgeted to do and expectations. Yeah, it's just different.
And Nikki's not the only one speculating on this as well. I want to talk about Tales of the Jedi a little bit more, but there are a lot of folks who are kind of leaning into the behind the scenes trouble, that the delays and lack of new announcements is behind the scenes trouble. I don't know that I buy into trouble. I don't go into the whole Lucasfilm Civil War or arguments, anything like that.
That isn't real whatsoever. I'm just not even gonna entertain like, no. Oh, we like it might be. It's not. It's just.
But I think it's I think you have an infancy of a platform, Disney Plus, and you know Bob Jr. came out. Bob the Second. What do you want to call him? Bob. Yeah, not
Bob Paycheck.
Real Bob. Yeah, not Bob Paycheck. Yeah, that's what you. But I think
Bob, don't boo me, Paycheck.
Nikki, we're going to doomcock you, Nikki. If we want to doomcock you, we're going to doomcock you. What are you going to do about it? No,
his words, not mine, Nikki. I think you're a lady, and I would take you out to the Sizzler and let you eat the salad bar before even. I'm
teasing. I wouldn't go after Nikki too much, or I will get beat up.
Beat the shit out of us, to be honest with you.
Oh, I'm quite sure of it.
Yeah. So I'm pretty scared of her, actually.
I'm just teasing. Just teasing. No, it's so Bob come out and said, we didn't realize the monster that this was going to become, right? We didn't realize the amount of demand there was for this platform, and they're trying to figure it out. And the platform as a whole, the streaming services as a whole, is still in its infancy. And you see people playing around with release schedules, with content layering, when do we release things and how. That's a platform thing. That's Disney Plus more than it is if Lucasfilm being mismanaged or behind the scenes trouble. Miscommunication, sure. I've been a critic of Lucasfilm's communication group for a long time.
They have no communication. That's their big problem. That's why we're able to Vince McMahon the hell out of Kathleen Kennedy if we should choose to, because if she literally says just about nothing at all, then there's nothing to ever refute a narrative or to build one that's actually concrete for the most part if you don't know anything. But like Nikki just said something that was kind of about Acolyte. The thing about Acolyte is it hasn't even filmed anything yet. So there's not really anything for them to like report. They can't really say anything. They can't really show anything. And you have to remember that there's a celebration coming, and they're not going to go at D23 at this point and then knock the wind out of the sails of their celebration next time. And I don't know if it's true. It's probably not, but there's a rumor that there's going to be a surprise D23 for the actual 100th anniversary of Disney, which I kind of didn't buy because they were doing 100 on everything this year, which kind of seemed like it was sort of like weird. But they were saying that because they had to hold one back. And there was a point when Kevin Feige goes, I can't show you this because there's another D23 before now and then, and there's not. So,
okay, all right. No, that makes as much sense as anything else. Just Disney's or Lucasfilm's marketing arm needs some major overhauling. And
it's always been weird, dude. Like when they were doing the sequel trilogy, it was going to the Marvel people. Everybody's like Lucasfilm's people. Lucasfilm would like take their stuff and put it together, and it would go to the Marvel people, who were then like, "This isn't Marvel. We can't do things the same way." And then they would try to do things the same way as Marvel, and it didn't compute and it didn't work. And even the stuff with Solo coming out when it did was largely actually the Marvel people. And I knew some of the people who were at Disney at that time. They're not there anymore, and they were the ones who were like, "Yeah, we're trying it. We don't know what to expect." Yeah, and they were the ones who came up with Solo or came up with a Star Wars story. That was them too. That was the Marvel marketing people, not Lucas.
It's crazy. It's crazy. like there are times where you see somebody do something, you think, wow, I think I could do that. To me, that's the sign that it's either two things. One, they're doing it so well that it looks effortless.
Yeah.
The other is that they're so incompetent that literally anybody could do better. Right?
Yeah.
And so is Lucasfilm's marketing doing it so masterfully that it looks easy? Who's going to make that argument? Who's going to defend that?
No,
Right?
but yeah,
No.
but they're not. Yeah,
They're not.
They're not.
They're definitely not, which makes the other side of that argument like, well, then literally, you could take any marketing person straight out of college with no experience, the ink hasn't dried on the diploma, and they could do a better job. I'm almost certain of it. And look, I've heard a lot of the explanations that it's inner politics of different departments, clamping down. You have to have meetings with people before you have meetings with other people, and it's just it's an entire red tape nightmare.
But let me
I've
ask you
heard
this.
the reasons.
Let's self-reflect at our navel gazing for a second, though. If I did go into an alternate dimension right now and say I went to the D23 from an alternate dimension, and there was another Star Wars show with a trailer there, and there was another Star Wars movie with a trailer there, would that change anybody's opinion? I think it would. And because it makes it sound like there's not doing anything at Lucasfilm. But there was a Willow trailer, which is a whole nother series with a trailer there, and a whole segment, and an Indiana Jones movie with a whole trailer there and a whole segment. So Star Wars fans only care about Star Wars and don't. Lucasfilm has two other huge things, and Lucasfilm's biggest thing this year isn't Star Wars, and they're taking that out of the equation and then being like, "What are you doing?" And it's like, well,
really good.
We're doing an Indiana Jones movie, and they're doing a Willow series. Which are two big things, actually.
Yeah,
and
just
I'm
as we said,
guy, so I'm excited. Yeah. I see why they're not, but they need to take that into account.
Yeah, you're that's a very, very good point. Just as you said earlier, D23 is not Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
It's not even Star Wars and Marvel. It's Disney. Like you've got the entire company there, right? So much different than this is Star Wars and Marvel parading out their best content. That's not what this is.
Right.
This is D23. And as you say, Lucasfilm is, and I've said this before as well, Lucasfilm is not just Star Wars. It's a much bigger company than just Star Wars. Sure, Star Wars is it's the elephant in the room, right? It definitely takes up most space. But if you're going to go out on a D23 or Lucasfilm has other things, they don't want Star Wars to suck up all the oxygen from the room. So I get it. You hold off on some stuff so that the other projects have time to breathe, right? They've got some oxygen and they can share that. It's the same that we had with She-Hulk getting a little room to breathe before you drop Andor on top of it, right?
Yeah.
So it makes sense to me. Makes sense. I get it.
And the other thing to actually too, like, I mean, because I am all about being critical of them. Like, I think it's positive to be critical, but there is some smarts in the actual layout of the television shows that we have right now, because we have Andor coming. That, let's be honest, it's pretty much for 40-year-old Star Wars fans who watch television high drama, and it hopefully it permeates into the rest of the fandom and they enjoy it for what it is. But you have very adult Star Wars coming, and then in the same 6 months to year, you have the Amblin Star Wars coming as well, and then in between that, you got Mandalorian, which is just like the I like dude movies kind of like audience. Like, so they're going after 3 specific audiences in quality ways, though. Yeah. And Andor is like golden age of television stuff. Mando is just like I said, it's the action person Star Wars stuff. Yeah. Amblin's like kids, but doesn't talk down to them. and that everyone could enjoy. And like right now, that's a really, and then whatever Acolyte becomes whenever we get that. But that's like completely different, a whole spectrum of television shows. Like I'm not really crazy about Boba and Mando coming. That's like when that happens, that's sort of like you're doing the same thing in a row. It's I can't even tell what shows which. Why is it even two shows at this point? It's kind of like, you know, whatever. But but once we break out of that, it's pretty strong. That's actually not something to scoff at.
Well, that's what I said before. Like if we back away from being a YouTube content creator and actually just as a fan look at Star Wars content coming, it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. But being critical is, I think it's healthy, and it's one thing. I was a teacher for a while before I became a programmer, and I was a trainer, a corporate trainer, and I always asked for criticism. I wanted to know what could I do better, and if all they're doing is singing your praises, right, then you won't get better. You can't refine the parts of your presentation or parts of your job that you need to improve.
Yeah,
so I think that's a critical part of it. And when we start to talk about like hyper ends of the spectrum, right? So you get the fans that won't accept any criticism, and if you criticize it at all, you're not a fan. And you get the other side who say if you like anything, then you're a shill and you're not a fan. Like that's happening in this space
all the time.
The rest of us as a whole, like just step back a second, right? Look at it at an arm's length away, and look, this is some amazing stuff coming out. So there should be that too, right? Acknowledgement that this is amazing, and I think Lucasfilm marketing could be better, right? There's nothing wrong with saying that, right?
No, it's true.
Yeah. And Nikki says they could have at least given us something to show that, right, we have unconfirmed movies, casting, etc. I've mentioned before, like a project dashboard where you have, here are all the things, like those 11 that Kathleen Kennedy have on the wall behind her, or other things that we know now are in the works that weren't announced then. And just a simple dashboard that gives us some sort of status. Is it a 23 TBD, TBA 2024? Is it TBD? We don't know when. Is this canceled? Is it greenlit? Is it in production? Are they in casting? Like, what's going on? And I think they largely think that's none of our business.
Yeah, they will never confirm when something is like truly canceled like that. They just don't. They just step away and like forget about it. Just in case it comes back or something. But also because you just don't admit failure. You just can't, like politically. But Star Wars Insider does the closest thing to it right now, where they have like an in production thing with like all of the stuff that's like happening.
I've seen that.
Which is I sent that to you when I got the little preview of it that one day, and I was like, look, they're almost doing your idea, almost.
Almost.
But we should read between the lines though, because when you have been going around saying Taika's movies 2024 or 2023, then 2020, whatever, then you don't even acknowledge it at what's supposed to be the last D23 before. That was, I mean, I don't think it's like canceled, but I don't think that's going as far along as they were trying to push and hoping for early on. And I think that was that was our confirmation that Rogue Squadrons, it's dead.
Boy, I hate to think that. I hate to think it.
I
Jumping Jamie's brown nosing with you, Jason.
Jumping Jamie. Jamie.
I know.
That's the theme song. I just wrote it. Jumping Jamie.
So let's go back here. I left this up because I wanted to get back to Tales of the Jedi. We've been on a tangent. Yeah, there's been a lot of speculation about is this lore breaking in any way, and is it causing problems? This is one of the discussion points I heard last night on X-Wing and Matt Risman's discussion. Why
is Gantica so foxy? Why does Gantica? Gantica.
Why does she say Ahsoka is Jedi? How does she know? What? She's not a Jedi. She hasn't gone to the Jedi Academy. She's not even a Padawan.
What is she,
yet.
an idiot? What, Gantica?
Right?
She's like 100 years old. She knows what a Jedi is.
What are you born and you're made a Jedi? Come on, who knighted her? Who made her a Jedi Knight? How did that happen? Right? I'm doing to Matt now what I did to Nikki earlier. So anyway, I'm just giving him a hard time. And Matt's not here to defend himself.
In Clone Wars, they will often refer to Padawan as a Padawan as a Jedi. You know what I mean?
I think it's a generic term for Force user.
Yeah.
Internally, Force sensitive.
Internally, you wouldn't do that. Like if you were in the Jedi religion, you wouldn't do it. Outside, it's like, you know.
Right.
I see a guy with a little white thing and a black collar. I'm like, that's a priest. He might be a whatever, but I'm like, that's a priest to me. I don't care.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. They're Force sensitive. That's a Jedi.
Yeah.
It's just it's a commoner's term for somebody who has Force sensitivity. They've acknowledged that Ahsoka has some connection to the Force, and so it's the general term, not a title.
Yeah.
Right. So you can't do that. And we've talked before how not all light side users are even Jedi, part of the Jedi Order.
Well, I mean, that's Ahsoka's fate, right?
Right.
I mean, that's that's literally where she goes, what she becomes.
Exactly. So what is she? She's not a Jedi. She's not part of the Jedi Order.
But she's a granddaughter.
It's a confusion of terms. And so if you only looking at it in the narrow context of somebody who's a member of the Jedi Order has been knighted a Jedi Knight, then the use of the term is wrong, right? Quentin, stop it, man. Stop it. You're absolutely amazing. The care package I got was it was wonderful, and it came with this little surprise puzzle, and it is, you don't know what it says, and so you have to put it together to see what it says. And it's still sitting on the table.
Is it a bad
no.
word? Oh, okay.
It's great. Thank you for the super chat, Quentin.
It's all like it says a bush hog. You're like.
That needs to be a new T-shirt. We should tell Mark. We need a.
Yeah, Mark, what are you doing, Mark? Come on.
We need new Santa merch. We Oh my goodness, so funny. Matt's cracking me up in the chat. You guys are great. I think this is just a general term, so I don't think this is lore breaking anyway. She's not like declaring that this little baby is somehow. And then there's this next part coming up here that seems to tie into.
Wait, go back, or you don't have to go back. But the Bad Batch logo. I need the Bad Batch logo in the saying Bush Hog. That's what that right there. That's what we need Baymax to like do, because that's a shirt right there.
That's a shirt right there.
Yeah.
There you go. We could put it in the top where it says Star Wars. You put SW Santa, and then in the middle you put Bush Hog.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get that for Meg for Christmas. Senator.
Oh, that's hilarious. Oh my goodness. So yeah, there you see Ahsoka ship coming up. This is there she's training with Anakin at some point during the Clone Wars.
And by the way, this confirms Ahsoka's scoops on it in Naruto. The what were they called? Fulcrum leaks for like a day. And they that confirms their like scoop. That are we allowed to talk about spoilers or no spoilers?
Let's not get too spoilery, right? Just
let's just say that scene with Anakin training, they put the info out on that, and it's significant, and it was something that was like you wouldn't just know to make up. So once again, confirms their scoops on that on Tales of the Jedi.
Perfect.
All of the leaks were likely very accurate in the end.
Absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
And there's a scene coming up here that I want to. So we see Dooku kind of losing his sense of humor, and he calls this guy my Padawan. Is this Qui-Gon? Who is this?
Yeah, that's Qui-Gon looking like he's about to play guitar in The Police, which is rad, doesn't it? I mean, it looks like very like 80s Qui-Gon, which I dig it. It looks great. And look at Mace. You can't even tell he looks the same age. Mace hasn't changed a day.
So we get some of this. I'm trying to get to the scene. So here she's
doing that training that we were talking about.
Yeah, over and over stun gun.
Well, you know what? Okay, you know what? Though we do see that in season 7 of the Clone Wars, so we do know what that moment is working towards.
Oh, right, and
so it's not really a spoiler. I mean, it's there.
Well, they cover they're shorts. Again, got to remember, right? We've got 2 stories, Ahsoka's in 3 shorts, and Dooku's in 3 shorts. Right, there could be some overlap. It looks like, but so you'll get big jumps, and so we see Ahsoka as a little youngling on Togruta or whatever, and then you see her training with Anakin, and then there's another scene coming up here that I want to talk about. I think it comes from the
old ones called like Oldens. What are the old people called? Sorry.
The Dooku and where is it? Come on.
I love Dooku's just for men beard.
Yeah.
Wait, is he beardless in that one? Was Dooku beardless in that last shot?
Well, it's sort of the question. Like
we got beards and beardless.
I'm tired of fighting. Who's she talking to? Who is this?
Oh, well, I thought that might be like even younger Dooku, but the Ahsoka Tano line could be a red herring, but it's probably not Dooku, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think necessarily it is. There's a scene. Oh, here you go. You get this dude here that is popular from the Clone Wars, and he showed up in the Kenobi show.
Yeah. Old, we call him Amber the stripper. After that, his name was Amber.
Oh, this guy. Okay, so here's the scene. So we see this guy here on one of the. Well, we'll see it come up here in a second. It's called an Inquisitor.
His name is Chauncey. Chauncey the Inquisitor.
He's called an Inquisitor. Where does this mask come from? You can see the Inquisitor blade with the round. Like this is an Inquisitor blade, but who is this dude, right? And I think Meg has a really good
the E.K. Johnston
about who that is.
The E.K. Johnston stuff too.
Yes, this is what I'm talking about. So in the Ahsoka novel, there is a scene very reminiscent of what you see pictured here. And an Inquisitor, the 6th brother, is on this moon. It's a like a farming moon where it's rural. They're growing crops. The first the Empire comes in and they kind of take over, and they're they kind of just they're abusing the soil, right? They're bringing all this out, and this is where she gets her crystals from this guy, right? He's got 2 crystals in here. She and the term X-Wing uses, she hand grenades him. Essentially, she grabs this middle section here, does something to it, and it causes the kyber crystals within the mechanism to overheat, and boom, it blows up, kills him. Right? So it very well could be from the E.K. Johnston novel where she takes on the 6th brother.
I don't think it is
mask
for 2 reasons.
The
E.K. Johnston
mask looks strange.
Well, and E.K. Johnston's like you guys are kind of being like really nice to say that that's what that is, but it says a lot of stuff doesn't add up. And then the elite, I guess it's okay to say what the leaks say doesn't happen, right? Since it doesn't happen, that's not really spoiling something that doesn't happen. They said that you don't see Ahsoka get the lightsabers in it. So that is another thing that doesn't line up with it being from the novel. I think it's a big thing that means it's not from the novel, because that would be really kind of sexy to put in there, to have her get those. At the end, she has like the white blades. You're like, oh, that's how she got it. I saw it on screen. But they don't do that.
No, but they could stop short of that.
Sure.
Where she defeats the guys, and then she's got the crystals, and that's the end of the scene, right? Like, she doesn't get the sabers, but she has the crystals. That could absolutely happen. But I think this very well could be, and I think Matt Risman said this. I was picking on him earlier, but I think he said it could be a dream sequence, like seeing into the future, getting a vision of what's going to happen, and this Inquisitor. It says let's let it play, because in the subtitles, it says Inquisitor. We'll go back here because there's some other content to pick out. But there is a scene that talks about, there it is, Inquisitor. And who might you be, right? And you see Ahsoka there. And she doesn't have her sabers. So it very well could be a vision of the future. You're going to meet this Inquisitor. That's not what he actually looks like, but it's the vision of a that's Inquisitor.
But we know everything from the spoilers, though. And at first, Ahsoka, who was the leaker of information on this one, thought they were retconning the novel, then changed his tune after he got more data that suggested it was something else, I think. Yeah.
So I'm not exactly sure what we're going to see there, but it very well could be an adaptation of the E.K. Johnston novel or not.
Yeah, I'm betting hard not, personally.
Yeah. Matt Risman, I think it's happening. I just don't know who that Inquisitor is. I agree. I don't know who that is. These are interesting droids, by the way.
Those are we've seen those before, haven't we?
That look that way with the ridge on the helmet.
They kind of remind me of the High Singer droids. I don't know if I am getting it mixed up, though. I wouldn't die on a hill, but they kind of look like the High Singer droid bodies. But here, I'll try to Google it real quickly and see if I could. Yeah, because I think the High Singer droid had more of like an alien head, kind of like a high back. Let's see.
Dooku and now again from the leaks, we kind of know what happens here, because Dooku and Mace Windu are fighting side by side, and it begins a bit of a riff with the two of them. Again, from the leaks, they tell us what happens following this battle, and Dooku kind of loses his sense of humor. You see that it played out in the trailer, where he yeets a guy right there. He's getting ready to cut his head off, right? But he doesn't. And there he's being calm down, right? Stand down.
See, when I'm looking at this stuff, it makes me wonder if the Ahsoka stuff all stemmed from this trailer. Because remember, at first, that's what they thought he did. And they're like, no, he doesn't do that.
Oh, there we go. There's another.
Ooh,
right.
That was cool.
There you go. There you see Ahsoka hiding in a crowd. This is presumably at Padme's funeral.
Yeah.
Right.
It is. It is the Padme's funeral for sure.
And then there was another scene here. We skipped over the bit with Yaddle. We know that part of. Oh, there you go. Look at that.
That's cool.
Some really cool stuff. I'm excited for this series. It's 6 shorts. I think it's going to do for a lot of us. It's going to kind of make you hungry for more, which is good. Which is a good thing.
Yeah,
it really is. It gets you speculating, it gets you excited, and you want more. And that's exactly what as a content provider, you want your customers to come back for more, right?
Yeah.
It could be a little frustrating because you're not getting satisfied fully.
Sure. But I mean, this feels more like what the Clone Wars was, and what I want, where I want Bad Batch to move into a bit more. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm hoping like as the hero of Bad Batch grows up a little bit, I hope maybe we get more into this sort of tone of storytelling, you know. But look, Yaddle looks great though. Doesn't that look cool?
Yep. She does look great. She looks really, really good.
Yeah.
Where did I see it? I saw a comment. Oh, there it fits. Streaming the day before my birthday. Awesome. It's right before our wedding anniversary. It's the end of the month. So
nice. Happy birthday and happy anniversary. So
there's a lot of talk about Dave not paying attention to written or comics. And I think that's somewhat true. I just don't want to go too far off the down the rabbit hole. This Yaddle looks great here. I heard some great speculation about how this could be a motivation for. And here you see Yaddle flipping around, very much like we see in Attack of the Clones, Yoda versus Dooku, and it's not going to end well for Yaddle. That's pretty much confirmed.
Yeah,
not going to work. Not going to work.
Not going to work out too well. No.
Look, I'm excited for it. The 6 shorts. It'll be very much like what we got Visions last year, and if they just alternate years between Visions and Tales of the Jedi, that'd be great. So we'll just have to see. Yeah, I see the stuff going on about Ahsoka, the E.K. Johnston novel. Look, I think that E.K. Johnston said they're not retconning everything. They did consult. That may recontextualize some stuff, but it's not gonna blow a hole in the Ahsoka novel.
Well, I mean, even how many Inquisitors does a Jedi come across throughout their life in that 20 years? I don't know how many years we actually have Inquisitors, but let's just say 12, 13, 14. And like, so it's like, just because she's meeting an Inquisitor doesn't mean it's the first time she's met one. This might even not even be the second time she met one. I mean, it could be something that she's having to dodge periodically all during this era. Like, just because she's meeting one doesn't mean it's that time in that book that you read that one time. It doesn't have to be.
Because it happens a year after she goes into hiding. It could be the first one. And then she runs into other Inquisitors down the road. I tend to think that it might be the 6th brother. I understand why it might not be. But the more I think about it, the more it looks like and the more it fits the story of the 6th brother. And whether that's an actual or it's a vision of, still feels 6th brother-ish to me.
And we could be in a situation where they consulted Dave, which they did. They took his story, wrote it in the book, and he was just like, yeah, whatever. And then goes and retells his story exactly with all of his intent, the way that he saw it, and then just says, yeah, that's a different time.
It could be. And look, again, this is speculating a lot and then coming to, deductions based off of speculation. And sometimes it's best to just slow your roll and let's see how it plays out. Once we see how it plays out, then we can have a much more informed and intelligent discussion about it rather than getting sideways on something that may not be sideways at all. Right?
Yeah. Until we see like a trailer or some footage of this Ahsoka show, it's hard to say like if it looks cheap or it doesn't and so on.
Right. And like Yadi said, going to keep expectations low for the Ahsoka show. I did like a couple of the stills that I saw out on the internet, and I know there's a trailer, but this one to me is great. I love this still taken from the Ahsoka show, and what I really like about it is you can see these like circles and stuff on the floor. It reminds me very much of the Lothal Temple kind of idea.
Yeah.
She's dropped down into some temple or walked into some temple where there's light cascading down in. Yeah. And this looks like star charts again, which I think the Ahsoka logo are star charts, not World Between Worlds. I think it's star charts of whatever, Jedi temples, something like that. And she's using it to help find Ezra. And she's following all kinds of clues, and that's what I think we see here. It's just again speculation here, and then we get this still taken from the trailer, and then this. I love this live action version of the animated version. Here's the animated, right? So this comes right from Rebels, the post log, right? The epilogue, where you see Sabine coming up on this section of the Lothal Temple that was, or I think the Lothal Temple. It's a section of a wall that was pulled out, and then she painted this on it. This is her painting, and then you see it here, standing right in front of that same one. How cool would it be to see this piece of rock or artwork at future events, right? The Star Wars Celebration or like Galaxy's Edge or something where you can go take or probably better yet, like what do they call it? It's not Downtown Disney anymore. Disney Springs.
My only thing with it is they should have. It looks just like the cartoon now. And I feel like they should have, made it a little more high art on the cartoony style. I mean, that's sort of a weird thing for an artist, a high art person to have. I mean, in that way.
I agree. Like the thing that looks out of place here is Sabine. Because it's exactly right. It's exactly the same.
Yeah.
It looks like the animated cartoon picture, not like I agree with you. I think this should have been more realistic.
Because like we have to like defend things like, Cad Bane's face is different dimensions because he's not a cartoon. Dooku's chin's not like that because he's a man. He's not a cartoon. Right. The Inquisitor's head, he's not a cartoon. And then they go and they put the cartoon. It's like
I know, but if I saw this at Disney Springs, I'd go take my picture in front of it.
Yeah,
just saying. They built it. Now they just need to ship it around different places so we can, take fan pictures in front of them. But no, I think I'm excited for the Ahsoka series. I know Yachty said I'm going to try to keep my expectations low. I think that's a smart thing to do just in general. But I'm super excited for it, and I know we didn't get a ton of Ahsoka news. All they did is remove some specifics and make it more general. So instead of saying like February 2023, now it just says coming in 2023. Most certainly not in February, right?
No.
Just as we know.
What you mean for Mando?
Oh yeah, Mando, yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. There's that Marvel Secret Wars comes out early in the year.
Yeah.
Kind of and that looked, compared to everything, that was cool. That was the coolest Marvel thing that they showed for the most part. I would not be surprised if they end up that becomes like the big Marvel show of the year and they don't let them overlap and I believe it's 6 episodes, so I kind of can see it not showing up until after Secret Wars.
Okay. Well, yeah, because Disney Plus is messing with scheduling. It goes back to what are we actually going to get in 2023? And some of our frustration,
Secret Invasion. Secret Invasion. Sorry, not Secret Wars. Yeah.
When are things happening, right? When are things happening? Is it that hard to give us a schedule? And again, I have to go back to it's a platform in its infancy, and they're still trying to figure it out. It's super frustrating for fans not to have any idea because any speculation you have could be proven wrong tomorrow. They can move it on you.
Yeah, we don't know all the pieces, so it's impossible to.
It is
really.
It is
that well.
Oh, Baymax has rejoined us. I see him. You have to catch the T-shirt idea, Baymax. We gave you one earlier. That's. There's the other news came from the casting of Ezra, right?
Yeah,
looks like a spot on casting.
Yeah, but also like like the other thing to like, I saw this guy in costume, and his hair is short, like it's not that hair, the hairy that Prince Valiant shit on the left, and that Aladdin stuff. It's not that. It's like he took the clippers at a 1, and went over the hair. So like there's pictures on his Instagram of him like boxing. That's what he looks like.
That hair is pretty attractive, though.
Oh yeah, no, that's prettier than any girl I know. I'll tell you that.
It's really pretty hair.
but there's always a chance that if they're going to do a flashback and then a current versions of Ezra, and so maybe if they do that, they will we will get that Prince Valiant hair, whatever you want to call it.
It's a gorgeous locks.
It's like a stallion's mane.
There you go.
You know,
perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a good casting, and
the dark side has never had that shine. I'll tell you that much.
I'm really curious. Well, I don't know. We'll say our boy Kylo. He had some pretty good.
Oh, that was a black stallion's mane as well. But it's a little dry. I think he needed to condition a little bit more.
A little conditioner.
His looked well lubricated. Mm-hmm. Very healthy. No, I don't see a splint in sight. So.
Oh my goodness.
Did you see that? Did you see that guy who plays Aladdin going, "I'm glad the rumors are going to stop"? I'm like, the rumors that you created, the rumors that you literally gave birth to.
He also said he was auditioning for the role. Like he was making sure that they knew
a video, and so did about 355,000 other people.
Yeah. And I got a Patreon only question. So we do have a Patreon for the channel. And if you guys feel inclined to support the channel in that way, that would be wonderful. And as a benefit to our Patreon customers or supporters, we allow you to submit what are essentially super chats that we'll address during the live stream. Well, it says...
It says, I got kicked off my basketball team. How do I get back on? That's the kind of questions you could ask him if you are a Patreon supporter.
If you're a Patreon supporter, you could ask that. But our friend Star Wars Fitz actually asked the question: do you think that Eman will be any good playing Ezra? And I have to admit, I've not seen Eman in anything. I don't know his body of work. I don't know him from anybody. He looks like Ezra, but I don't know.
Remember when I thought it was Yvonne, but it was Eman?
Eman.
I heard in the video they called him. I thought they said Yvonne, but they said Eman.
I do remember that. Will Morgan.
No, the actor who plays Ezra Bridger in the cartoon was on point to the genre, to the parameters of the job that he had. Yeah. But if you brought that to live action, it's not going to fly. It would be like somebody from the Disney Channel walking into Return of the Jedi, and it would be like, get out of here, go. So what I'm trying to say is, chances I don't think that the performance of Ezra in the cartoon necessarily has much to do with what the performance that this one needs to bring. Unlike the Grand Inquisitor, where there was some connective tissue between, like, you know, haughty British guy who burns you and is intelligent and cunning. Like, you don't really need to watch the cartoon to get it at the end of the day.
Right.
Like, that was like the big controversy. This one, I don't think the guy needs to watch the cartoon whatsoever. I think he actually just needs to go and deliver what the script says. Well,
there's two really pertinent points about this. Is we know some time has passed. He and Thrawn got purgled out, right? Space whaled out. They've been gone for what, 5 years? Something like that.
Purgle. Yeah.
They've been doing something for some amount of time. And the question really is, who is Ezra Bridger when we find him during the New Republic era. Like, who is he? He's been gone for some time.
He's like, do you like my hair? It's beautiful. It's luscious. Yeah, I hung around with this guy. His name is like Matharu Mal Narudu, blah, blah, blah. His name is Thrawn, but he's got the best conditioner. He uses these blueberries and he crushes them over my head like wine. It runs down my glistening body, and then we turn it into wine and we drink it. But first, it makes my hair shine in the Force. And Luke Skywalker's like, I don't think you're right for the Academy, bro. I don't think you belong here.
A lot of people wondering if he's going to turn dark side, spending time with Thrawn, and I think that's and Meg points this out. I think that's a basic misunderstanding of who Thrawn is. Thrawn is not dark side evil villain. He's not. He is a chaotic good at best, but he is his interest is in the Chiss ascendancy and doing what it takes for the Chiss ascendancy to be preserved. So does he sometimes cross the line into questionable activities? Does he support the Empire that does, evil? Sure. But
okay.
You see Thrawn repeatedly try to save lives rather than take lives for no reason. And I don't think that we would see Ezra turn dark side. He's already made his choice. If you watch Rebels, you see him kind of go through that decision process and come out the other side.
So, but I'm gonna call you on your stuff right now. I'm gonna put you on the line.
Oh,
a second ago, it seemed like you were taking the stance that Dave Filoni was retconning that book.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Okay. No, but that there is I didn't want to chase the rabbit down the hole too far.
But that's what I'm saying here is if Filoni is not honoring that, for instance, then why would he honor this? And then if Filoni is honoring that, then maybe he's honoring this. See?
Yeah, I see where you're going. I don't think that he is. I don't think he holds himself strictly to the letter of the law.
Yeah.
More the spirit of the law. Mm-hmm. And so he is more of a spirit of the law kind of guy. He's familiar with the story that was told in Ahsoka, E.K. Johnston's novel. He's familiar with Ahsoka from other stories. Same here with Ezra. He's familiar with that. He's going to honor the character, the story, in spirit, if not to the letter. So I think we could see some things inconsistent if you follow the letter of the law, but I don't think he'd stray from the character himself.
Yeah.
And I know that's look, this is one of the things, like what color are Ahsoka's sabers, right? It changes depending what you're reading. What color are sabers, like in the Bad Batch episode 1? There's differences in saber colors there. There's difference in story details there. But the story arc itself, the spirit of the story is still intact.
Well,
it's super frustrating.
I think it was Chillmonger a little while ago. I can't find the quote now. He was like, that was George Lucas that was canon crushing, not Dave Filoni. Back when we did have the expanded universe, they were literally putting out books at the same time saying what Mandalorian culture and lore was, while they were doing the Clone Wars and stepping all over it together, like with scissors. Like, I don't think it's literally like that clear cut, to be honest with you. I mean, Clone Wars destroyed the expanded universe like weekly.
Oh, weekly. For sure. And I keep bringing up my favorite novel of all time, Plagueis. It's a hot mess, right?
Like I said, I had the preview copy of Plagueis, and it said this is George Lucas's canon. And then when they actually put the book out for general audiences, that sticker wasn't there. Wish I still had that copy. But
there's so much mess that is contradicted in canon.
Yeah.
That Plagueis now just has it's shot full of holes, and George just simply didn't care. And it's the same we see with Dave. A lot of people attribute the same attitude towards Dave of having inherited George's perspective on written work. That it's a different tier of canon. It's not canon. It's somebody else's story. It's
like so different though, because like Lucas was like tired and frustrated, wanted to do Star Wars, but kind of didn't want to, and like just to add one little annoying thing on it might just make him not want to work. And like, but like Dave Filoni is like, okay, so I want to do this. All right, I'll have everything happen like that. And then in the E.K. Johnston book, that's why she knew to do that to the because she learns it here. Like that's what Dave would do. Dave will just come up with some BS reason, and that's why she knows. And then whichever way it works. And then he's like, okay, I solved it. And then they just move on, because the truth is about 150,000 of you read that novel, and millions of people are going to see the show. And like that's
exactly
that's showbiz, baby.
And that's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. Nikki applying George's EU approach to canon material makes no sense. It's super frustrating. I agree. And I'm trying to come to terms with it myself. Like, how do they view all of it? I know when Disney bought Lucasfilm, they came out, they made their big announcement. They relabeled all the EU as Legends. Now we're going to start with a fresh slate. Everything's going to be interconnected, from the comics to the novels to the series to the movies. All of it's going to fit together as one master work. And that just does not appear to be strictly true. Well, and I have to go back to the letter of the law versus the spirit of the law, right? The letter of the story versus the spirit of the story. And the spirit of the stories are intact, even if the letter of the stories are not. That's where I am.
What will probably, I think, like, just to Occam's razor it, let's just pretend the Ahsoka novel, let's just say like that show does step all over it. It does break it. Like, remember, Clone Wars was breaking it while they were publishing it, which told you exactly where they were at mentally. Lucasfilm's not breaking it while they're publishing it, at least not on purpose. Sometimes there's errors and production changes and stuff. But what will likely happen is they will simply, in the digital copy, if we see that Ahsoka book get a Legends banner on the top, we know it's been tossed out. And I think that's how they will. I think that's how they'll handle it. I
wish they would just
great solution.
I wish they would just come out and say, look, we're sticking with the spirit of the story. We're not tying ourselves to the letter of the story. So if you read the Ahsoka novel, you're going to understand her story. We're not going to do anything that contradicts the spirit of that story. She is still going to have this adventure as part of it. But whether she meets somebody named Bob or whether she meets somebody named Bill, that could be different. It's still going to be she meets somebody. Right?
Yeah.
Whether she meets the sixth brother or she meets somebody else, it's still going to be another Inquisitor. It's going to be somebody. And we're going to stick with the spirit of the story. Her lightsabers are going to come from the reclaimed Kybers from that Inquisitor saber. Whether it happens, with the sixth brother or a different one, it may be different from genre to genre, but the spirit of it. If they would just say that, right? Like, we're going to stick with the spirit of the story. We're not going to focus on the minute details. At least we have something.
Also, remember, like, when they made the choice to make all books canon, all comics canon, all that kind of stuff, Disney Plus didn't even exist. They didn't know exactly how much. Like it was like, we ever going to do an Ahsoka movie where it matters? Nah, we're not. That's probably not going to happen. So it was like, yeah, do whatever you want. Yeah, here's the idea I had, and then they go and they like do it. But now it's a completely different medium. In my opinion, they should just discontinue the whole canon media print thing as being a thing.
I agree. But it creates another problem, though, and not Lewis. You're correct. Not only did they change the saber color in the Oh, they changed it in the new copies of the book. Oh, I see. So if you get print number 3 of the book, then it's been corrected. But they also changed the whole interaction between Maul and Ahsoka on Mandalore when they confront each other. In the book, it's different than it is.
And hey,
now.
revising, I'm cool with that. Revise it.
Well, that's sort of what I mean about it sticking with the spirit of it, right? So Maul and Ahsoka still meet on Mandalore. They have an encounter on Mandalore. And the result of the encounter comes out somewhat differently. I just have to be honest. Like they're not the same. They're not the same. But so is the Ahsoka novel already just that encounter? Like if you were just to read that scene, then there's nothing other than Ahsoka, Maul, encounter. Outside of that, nothing is the same at all. So what do you do with it? Are you to believe that Maul was captured and put in a what do they call those coffins that have the spikes?
Yeah. I call it a Hannibal Lecter tomb.
Right, but they put him in a force sensitive box where he can't get out, or was he? Did they battle and he jumped aboard a ship and off he went? Right? Did he try to recruit her? Did he not try to recruit her? Like what happened with all this stuff? It's entirely different. But
Dave Filoni's like, I don't have time for this. He said, she said bullshit, and then he just took off.
Yeah, but they did meet, right? They did have a confrontation. The spirit of it is still there, but that's about it. That's about it. So yeah,
which makes the legends. Just saying.
But then why do people? What's the point of reading the stories if they're not canon? That's the argument. To me, they're still entertainment. You said it.
It's not religion. It's not the Bible. It's not history. It's not real.
Yeah.
So it's entertainment.
It's entertainment. Yep, it's entertainment. And if it helps inform their story as a whole, why they're not keeping to the letter of it, if it helps inform the story as a whole, then it provides entertainment and some perspective, but maybe not the details, right?
Yeah.
So, So I'll give you another example because I'm going to do a little shameless plug. I have another channel that's just Santa stuff.
Oh yeah.
It's called Coming to Town. It's something I haven't really spent any time on, but I did publish this video. This is a bee telling a story, Nika, the tiniest elf, and you can find that on my channel. This is me as in my full Santa garb, right? And I will post the link to this story. It's a fun story, and I'll post this on Discord, and I'll post it in the YouTube community, and I'll post it in Patreon for those who want to see this. So this is my Santa Claus channel. Why didn't I say anything before? Because I haven't posted any content there till last week. So I will start posting more content there as Santa Claus as part of this North Pole wireless thing that I'm doing. And there you see me in my Santa Claus attire with my beard all straightened out and stuff like that. So this is what sort of the kind of thing. This is story time with Santa, and I'm telling the story of Nika, the tiniest elf. It's a fun story. So, but I'll tell you something. Every time I tell the story of Nika, the tiniest elf, it's a little bit different than the last time I told the story of Nika, the tiniest elf. But
hypocrite.
The story of Nika.
Nikki, he's a hypocrite.
The story of Nika, the tiniest elf, is still at its heart the same story, even though the details might change just a tiny bit every time I tell it. So that's what I'm saying, right? Like this is how this works. It's a Nikki ain't buying it. Nikki ain't buying it. I've become the very thing I swore to defeat.
This guy. You guys ever find it weird that we've all sat on this guy's lap? You ever think about that?
Yeah.
Why are we here? Did we like it?
That's true.
We must have.
Yeah. This is a fun video. It's just under 7 minutes long. It's a lot of fun. I love this story. There's another story that I tell. I'm going to start recording them as for North Pole Wireless, and
That's rad.
and it'll be part of your subscriptions that you get. And if you subscribe to Coming to Town, my Santa Claus YouTube channel, there's not much there, but over time we'll publish a little bit more here and there. And these are made for kids, so it'll never be monetized. You can't monetize stuff made for kids, but that's how we'll go.
Nice.
Yeah, Nika, Nica, obviously, subdued. That's how that goes. So, Jason, are you talking to Rob today?
At 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I'll be
So 2
sharing
more hours.
my D23 vacation photos. That's how I'm gonna make Rob. I'm gonna make it like Rob is. It's gonna be like that version. You know, when you go to somebody's house and they make you look at their vacation photos and you want to die. It's gonna be like that, but D23 with me and Rob.
Okay. Okay. Well, I have the Mike Porter dad joke queued up
I
here.
missed it. It's been so long.
Mike Porter didn't know we were going to do a show today. Well, is Meg on water break? Are you on water break from practice, Meg? What's going on? Wait. Yeah. And Quentin, yes, we will do Guardians of the Will stream again. As soon as my life gets back to normal, we will absolutely do that. But Mike didn't know we were going to do a stream today. So it's a Star Trek. It's a Star Trek dad joke. So
sorry, I didn't mean to correct you, but it's pronounced Star Trek. If you listen to people speak, it's definitely called Star Trek.
Star Trek.
Yeah, for sure.
What does the empath do on the Enterprise D? What does the empath do on Enterprise D? That's the question. She's Troy to figure out your feelings.
I knew it was going to be a Troy.
Oh, Deanna Troy.
Yeah.
So that's it.
I had some feelings about Deanna Troy as an 11-year-old watching Star Trek on Channel 13 KCOP. I was like, man, that's
I was wondering why they never had a scene of her marriage.
Mm-hmm.
The wedding ceremony. I think it's an interest to fans.
Yeah.
We want to see her get married. It's an important part of her story.
I want to see her before she was married, back when she was like going to the clubs, the empath clubs.
No, do you remember the tradition for their species when they got married?
No.
Well, there's your problem.
Okay.
I'm not going to say it.
Okay.
No, they got married completely nude.
Oh, okay.
Right? No.
Yeah, they should do that. They should do that. They could finally make Star Trek cool after all these years if they did that. But it's all Enterprise D with the capital D.
With the or maybe Enterprise double D. I don't know.
Oh, hey. Deanna Troy's got some cash from somewhere, and they're a post-capitalist society. They just do it. They're just like, they just go into the holodeck, and then now, whoa, what's going on here?
So there we go. I think we can wrap it up. I will say I'm having some Stream Deck issues today. Stream Deck's not working. It's locking up. A lot of it is tied to the latest release of OBS. OBS and Stream Deck don't play well together now. And now
emphasize on the BS, right?
I can't do the regular outro. I can't do a lot of the things here, but I will say that I appreciate all the support that we have. You guys.
Here comes that's what it does, right? Boop, 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 boop. I can just do it for you the whole time.
We don't get the Darth Elvis outro song that he wrote for us. So there won't be that. But thanks for hanging out with me, Jason. And Meg, I appreciate you stopping in before practice.
The old bush hog. I always love hanging out with you. Yeah.
Be careful not to hurt your elbow. Practices can be, I
thought she was talking about like a band thing at first, like guitar. And I was like, oh, no, it's...
All right. Hey, so a couple hours from now, hang out with Jason and Rob on the stream. And again, I'm not going to be here for the rest of no live streams for the rest of the week. I've got some big work deliverables, and then we're going to take some time off. We're going to go camping and
That
get
sounds
away.
fun. Yeah,
So-
you deserve it. It's gonna be a good time for you.
Thank you all
We will
so
miss
much.
you.
Thanks, Jason.
We will miss you.
Look, I'm super anxious to get back to doing our regular shows, right? Like being able to do this early in the week, do the Guardians of the Wills, and then the week wrap up with Meg. I want to get back to the regular cadence, and I know we're getting ready to come into Andor, and hopefully we'll be able to be back on track before then. So
Yeah, I'm gonna text you. Did you see Arjona running? Oh man, you missed it. It was better than when that Deanna Troy fan fiction you sent me of when she got married, stuff like that. So you better be back. You're gonna be sorry. Promise.
all right, deal. All right. Well, everybody, I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks for hanging out with us for a while here and catching up on the D23 news with Meg and Jason. And we've had a lot of fun today. So until next time, my friends, Merry Christmas. May the force be with you always. Bye-bye.